Hello and welcome back to Lorcana Villain. My name is Baker, and today we're taking a look at the top 16 deck lists for the biggest Lorcana event post Into The Inklands that we have had so far. The biggest in-person event that we've had so far was the Battle Bear event in Germany, which was 101 players. We had the online event hosted by Tier and the Pack, which was 181 players. This event that took place in France, our second big event from France since England's begun. France go hard with Lorcana, respect. But yes, this was an in-person event, real cardboard, and 247 players. This event took place on the 10th of March. It is currently the 11th, 7 o'clock in the evening. I'm working on I put out a loose schedule a few days ago, which I barely kept to at all, and I said I was going to do a video on Ruby Amethyst Control over the weekend. And I started writing some bullet points, just to sort of like keep me on topic for when I went over it, and it's turned into an 18-page script, which is now also I'm trying to make it. I'm trying to put some more editing effort into it and make it a little more pretty. So that's going to be a little bit delayed. Expect that in a couple of days. But I was working on that, and then I've just seen this event pop up. 247 players. That's a big pool of data to look at. So I've cracked straight on, hit record, and it's looking like it's going to be a late one as I try and get this out as soon as possible. But that's what I'm here for. So I want to get stuck in because we've got 16 deck lists to look through. But just as a warning, at the halfway point of the video, there'll be a short segment highlighting. I've got a secondary sponsor on the channel, which is Whatnot. So there'll be a short segment just talking a little bit about that. But yeah, didn't want to catch anyone off guard. But other than that, let's take a look at the lists. But of course, we can never forget our original channel sponsor. So if you're looking to get some singles from Into The Inklands, check out Cardmarket for all your trading card game needs. Alright, so of these 16 lists, we have 6 Ruby Amethyst. Only 2 of which are in the top 8, but first place was indeed taken by some good old-fashioned Ruby Amethyst control. The Into The Inklands set has only just released for big box stores, so I think there's probably a lot of new eyes on the product at the moment, and we're still early in the format, so I will continue with my habit of the first time we look at a card going through lists, I will look at it in more detail, so that newer players can hopefully keep up. But yeah, we got some Ruby Amethyst control, so we're running 8 1-drops, 4 Rafiki, 2 Olaf and 2 Mini. The 1-3 stat line is nice to keep them safe from common chip damage cards like Fire the Cannons, Let the Storm Rage On, Teeth and Ambitions, and we want our 1-drops to stick so that we can bounce them back to our hand to play our Madam Mim Snake and our Madam Mim Fox. So this stat line is important. Rafiki is also really strong, being able to hit for 3 when challenging. It enables a good response to Ursula, Deceiver of All, along with Pinocchio. Just being able to hit numbers, higher numbers is nice, especially in a format where locations are doing really well and there's lots of big bodies. So yeah, this is too good not to play in my opinion. We've got 2 copies of Kuzco, 2 cost Inkable, 1/2 quest for 1. When he's banished, you can draw a card. So really useful for being able to spread your board nice and wide. Again, also if you miss the 1-drop, it's another chance to get a character down on turn 2 at the latest, so that by turn 3, we have access to Madam Mim Fox. And just the fact that he's going to draw a card when he's banished means he's replacing himself. We're not as punished if we push a little bit more into board wipes, like grab your swords and be prepared. So I really like the count of Kuzco. Now onto the bounce stuff. I've mentioned them a couple of times. We've got Madam Mim Snake and Fox. They both require you to return a character to your hand to play them. Well, you can play them, but if you don't return a character to your hand, then they're immediately banished. So it's a cost that you want to play. And yeah, Madam Mim Snake, only a 2 cost with a 3/3 stat line, really good. 3 willpower keeps it out of the range of a lot of the early songs. 3 strength is a really important number to hit in the early to mid game. It checks a lot of threats, so she's really strong. And then the 3 cost Madam Mim Fox has a 4/3 stat line. Fox is really good. Rush is really good, being able to like spring this in and immediately remove a threat. It also helps us reach the numbers we need to hit a lot of big locations in the game. We can hit for 3 with something and then bounce and play Fox, and then the 4, that 7 willpower, that 7 damage total would take out things like the Queen's Castle. So yeah, Madam Mim Fox, one of the most powerful cards that Amethyst has. We also have 3 copies of the Pinocchio, uninkable 2 cost 1/1 quest for 1. When you play him, you can exert an opposing character. Saw a little bit of play set too to remove things like Ariel's, Doc's, Arthur's, but by no means a staple. But at the moment, really important card. I think one of the main targets really being Ursula, Deceiver of All, who is just so strong. If she sticks around long enough to sing songs, then the advantage that she can generate is just game-changing. So being able to remove that immediately is really good. And just exerting characters in general, like later on in the game, when you get these like Mexican standoff boards, is really good. Plus, it's a come-into-play ability, so we can reuse it if we bounce him back to our hand. We got 3 copies of Merlin Crab, 3-cost inkable, 3/3 stat line, quest for 1. When you play him and when he leaves play, you can choose a character to get Challenger 3. So that turns these low-cost characters into just bigger beat sticks. Suddenly Rafiki is hitting for 6. The 1/3 stat lines have become 4/3 little beat sticks that deal with a lot. It helps you reach bigger numbers for locations, which is like prompting a lot of the decisions behind deck building at the moment because they're just so powerful. So yeah, I really like the high count of Crab. We've also got Goat and Rabbit, who both have their abilities proc when they enter and leave play. Goat is a 4-cost inkable 4/3, and he gains Lore when he enters and exits. And Merlin Rabbit is a 4-cost uninkable 2/3 quest for 1, and he draws a card whenever he enters and exits play. So obviously you can combine these with your Snake and your Fox to bounce them and just keep generating Lore. And Rabbit in particular, you can just get so much advantage by just continuing to loop these. Again, they're another character like Kuzco that we can pressure the board a bit more into board wipes without being so punished because he's going to replace himself. But that being said, always be careful with your rabbits. Yes, you can quest a bit freely, knowing that like you're not being too punished because he's going to replace himself. But really, we want to recycle these as much as we can throughout the game. We've got 4 copies of Maui, who's a 5-cost inkable, 6/5 with Rush. Reckless meaning they can't quest, but we don't care. 6/5 is such a bonkers stat line. 6 takes out a lot of things. 5 willpower means that he can quite often remove a threat and stick around to take out something else, or at least demand an answer from the opponent. He does a good chunk of the damage needed to take out for the most popular locations. I lost my words completely there. Like Queen's Castle is a 7, McDuck Manor's a 9, RLS Legacy is an 8, so then it's only another small stone's throw to finish the job. So yeah, just such an important card, and combos really nicely. Might as well go straight to our 3-cost inkable item, Maui's Fish Hook. If you have Maui on the field, you can use the Shapeshift ability for free, so that's really cool. Nice synergy there. And then the Shapeshift ability being you have to exert and pay 2, just as a note. If you have Maui in the Maui in play, you still have to exert the Maui's Fish Hook. All you save yourself is the 2 ink. So just making that clear. And then you get to choose one of the following abilities. Either chosen character gets +3 strength. We've talked about why gaining strength is good. We looked at things like Crab, so just making our smaller characters hit all the harder. Good for getting into locations, things like that. And then the other ability, you can give evasive to a chosen character. So we can deal with opposing evasive. Stylish Surfer Mini is someone who is in half Ruby Amethyst lists at the moment. She's falling off a bit, and for good reason, I think. A lot of what I'm saying here about this deck, I'm literally I've written an entire 18-page script talking about Ruby Amethyst, and my build is quite similar to this. So a lot of this off the top of my head, I'm like lifting from the script I wrote, really. But yeah, I talk a bit more in that about why I've moved away from Stylish Surfer Mini. But just a lot of answers to it now. But yeah, you can deal with opposing evasive. Also even things like RLS Legacy from the opponent, which gives evasive to their characters, so that gives you a way to still be able to hit them. And just be annoying yourself giving evasive to one of your characters if they don't have evasive, knowing that you can quest a bit more frivolously without being taken out. Maybe you don't want whatever character you're questing with to be challenged so easily. We've got 3 copies of Madame Medusa, 6-cost uninkable, 4/4, quest for 1, and That Terrible Woman. When you play this character, banish chosen opposing character with 3 strength or less. Pretty much completely taken over the spot of Lady Tremaine. She pops up a little bit, but by and large, she has been replaced, because Lady Tremaine really strong, gets around ward, but quite easy to play around. And this ability to take out a character with 3 strength or less actually hits a lot of the things that we want to. Beast Tragic Hero is one of the prime targets for things like this. It's another reason Stylish Surfer Mini, I think, has fallen off, because she's a prime target for this in the mid to late game. And even the mid-rangey stuff, when you've got like Mexican standoff board states with like Crabs and Merlins in the RA mirror and things like that. Like, there's just a lot of targets that you're quite happy to take out with this. So yeah, I'm a big fan of the boss. We're also seeing 2 copies of Maui Whale. 7-cost inkable, 8/8, quest for 1, and 2 abilities. This mission is cursed. This character can't ready at the start of your turn, and I got your back. Pay 2 ink. Ready this character. He can't quest for the rest of the turn. So, worth noting, another character that we can benefit from Maui's Fishhook, and I actually really like the 3 count of Fishhook. I've been on 2, but I say in my own video that I can see myself moving to 3 because it's so good. So yeah, a bit more synergy there. And to be fair, he can sing Be Prepared. He's big and bulky. Like, if you're putting him down on turn 7, then from turn 8, like, you can challenge multiple times as well. Like, you put him down turn 7, like, ink wet, but ready. And then turn 8, you can challenge something and then just pay 2 ink and re-ready him, and he can just challenge again. Yes, he can't quest for the rest of the turn if you use the I Got Your Back ability, but he reminds me of a little bit of Scar, Vicious Cheetah, but obviously without the rush. But yeah, you can output a lot of damage with this if he isn't instantly removed. Really good for locations, which are a big part of our meta. Queen's Castles, McDuck Manors, RLS Legacies. They're putting in a lot of work. So yeah, I haven't tried the whale, but it's certainly interesting. We've got 4 copies of Maleficent Monstrous Dragon, 9 cost inkable, 7/5, quest for 2 when you play this character, banish chosen character. 4 is a lot more than we've been. When at first, when the format began, I said incorrectly that I think Maleficent Monstrous Dragon was a bit too slow now. But then she started doing well in a few lists as like a 2 or mostly a 2 count in most lists. So I was like, okay, we'll try it out, and it has felt good to have the 2. I don't know about 4, but did very well for this person, all the way to first place in the biggest field we've had. So listen to the data baker. So yeah, 4 big old monstrous dragons. We've got 4 friends on the other side, which got friends on the other side where we can draw 2 cards and we can sing it, which is great. 4 Be Prepared, our big red button, our standards and practices.
Standards and practices, baby.
We got 1 copy of the Sorcerer's Spellbook, 3 cost uninkable. Exert, pay 1, gain 1 lore. Definitely helps keep us ahead in the race and like makes our opponent play more aggressively if both sides are kind of like Mexican style standoff like. I keep saying that. Is that unsensitive? I don't know. I hope not. I should probably stop. So yeah, just baits the opponent into playing a little bit more aggressively. And then we've got 4 copies of the Queen's Castle. 4 cost inkable, 1 to move there, 7 willpower, 2 passive lore gain. At the start of your turn, draw a card for each character you have here. I'm paraphrasing, but that's what it do. Yeah, one of the best, I think the best location in the game. You notice we're not seeing a Jim Hawkins, we're not seeing a Prince Eric, no other locations, just this one, but it can generate so much value. So yeah, big fan of this list. The whale is something that I certainly need to test, but a lot of this looks very similar to mine. I'm not playing the Spellbook or the whales, but yeah, looks really good. Huge congratulations to them. We'll do all of our Ruby Amethyst lists in a row. This person making top 4, just gone for the 6 1-drops, which for me always feels low from that one time I played 6 and didn't see them all day. But yeah, opting for just the 1/3 stat lines, no Rafikis. We've got 2 Kuzco, which makes me feel a little better, so we've got a higher chance of at least getting a character down by the end of, before our turn 3. 4 Snake, 4 Fox. We've got 3 copies of Maleficent here, or I'm running a 2 count of 3 cost inkable, 2/2 quest for 1. When you play this character, you may draw a card. We've already got rabbits, although this person's only running 3. I think in the mirror, just like knowing that they're going to do a lot of drawing as well, you need more draw than them. So I've enjoyed the 4 rabbit and 2 Maleficent. Plus, it's just more small bodies that we can put at the Queen's Castle. And it's something else that we can recycle with our bounce mechanic cards. So yeah, I'm liking Maleficent again in Ruby Amethyst. 2 copies of Crab for the plus to strength. In this deck, we are running 3 copies of the Stylish Surfer Mini, 3 cost inkable, 1/3, quest for 2, and evasive. Still a really strong card. I've moved away from it, but I don't object to anyone that would play it by any means. I've just tried to make my list a lot more offensive, and like every character of 3 cost or greater does something as soon as it hits the board. So that's just the style I've gone for, but Mini's still really good. I could see myself coming back around to playing her again. We've got 4 copies to go, only 3 rabbit as I mentioned, which fair enough. Like I spent a long time in set 2 saying I thought 3 was enough, but nowadays I wouldn't want to run less than 4, but did well for this person. We are seeing 2 copies of Prince Eric here, 4 cost uninkable, 2/2 quest for 2, and when this character is banished, you may banish chosen character. We are running 4 copies of Teeth and Ambitions here, which is a 2 cost inkable song where you put 2 damage on one of your characters to do 2 damage to another character. So really nice synergy. If you are running these Teeth and Ambitions, I do think a 2 count of Prince Eric is nice. For me personally, I find him a little bit too slow in most situations, especially for being another one of our uninkables. So I have cut him, but he is doing well. I do respect him as a card. He does create annoying board states when I'm facing him, so I respect him, but I'm not piloting him myself. But doing very well for this person. We are seeing the 3 copies of Jim Hawkins here. 5 cost inkable, 4/4 quest for 2, and 2 abilities. This is it. When you play this character, you may play a location of 4 cost or less for free. All of our current locations are 4 cost or less. And when the second ability, Take the Helm, when you play that location, he can move straight to it. Or just when you play any location, he can move straight to it. We are seeing the 4 Queens Castle here, but this person taking advantage of the RLS Legacy. 4 cost uninkable, 3/8, so big bulky 8, only expensive to move there for 3, but one of the abilities on this card is that if you already have a character there, the cost to move there becomes 1. So nice synergy. If we rush this in with Jim, he's going to move there straight away, and then already we can only pay 1. We only have to pay 1 to move other characters there, so it can be subverted. And the other ability, just giving evasive to all of our characters there. Evasive is annoying, helps us deal with opposing evasive, makes it takes away one of the options for our opponent to challenge our board, unless they have evasives of their own. So I've moved away from RLS Legacy, but for me it's more because I've moved to only a 2 count of Jim, and I just wanted to watch my uninkable count and prioritize other uninkables. But again, this build is doing well consistently, so I still think it's good. The 4 copies of Maui, only 2 copies of the Madame Medusa, which I think is fine, but this is my line as well. I'm on 2 Medusa and 2 Dragon's Fire. Again, I prefer it over the Tremaine. Tremaine is good, like I don't blame anyone who plays her, she's really strong, but I prefer this, Madame Medusa, to be able to take out those things like Tragic Hero Beast and more the mid-gamey threats, but then still 2 copies of Dragon's Fire, where you take out exactly what you want, other than Ward. So yeah, I really like this line. It's been working well for me. The teeth, as I said, 4 friends, 4 be prepared, and the locations, as we mentioned. So yeah, a slightly different build, more a location control based. Similar to me in some aspects, like the Medusas and the Dragon's Fires and the Maleficents, but different to me, Prince Eric's, RLS Legacy, and to be fair, 3 Jim. I'm only running 2, but yeah, deck looks really good. Congratulations to them. Moving on, like I said, only 2 in the top 8, so we now move into the top 16. Most things quite similar here. We're running 8 1-drops, 4 Rafiki, 4 Mini. This is my lineup as well, which is working really well for me. We're all in on the Kuzgos, big 4 counts. But yeah, I don't hate it. Again, another character that we can push with and guarantee higher odds to get something down before our turn 3. We've got the 4 Snake, the 4 Fox, 3 Maleficent, 3 Crab, 4 Goat, 4 Rabbit, 4 Maui, 4 all the way in on 4 Medusa. That's a lot, to be fair, but I respect it. 3 Teeth and Ambitions. I don't really see them. To be fair, you're not running Pinocchio, so maybe you do need it a bit more, because it helps against aggro for sure. But I'm running 2 Pinocchio, which could quite easily become 3. It's that good. And like, what are you doing against Ursula Deceiver of All? Just hoping for the best, I guess, which is fine. Like, you can let Ursula Deceiver of All pop off and come back. You've got the big red button.
Standards and practices, though. They push the button.
But yeah, fair enough. I mean, this person's playing 3 spell books, so play Pinocchios as well. Maybe letting your uninkable count get a little high. So fair enough. 4 friends, 4 be prepared, and then yeah, as I just said, 3 copies of Sorcerer's Spellbook. That's some gas if you can get them down in the mid to late game when you've got like level board states. That's really going to make the opponent panic. 2 Maui's Fishhook and just only 2 copies of the Queen's Castle. I kind of get it. You never feel like you really play more than 1 or 2, but it's that good. I like a 4, but I think I can understand the reasoning. But yeah, congratulations to them. Next up in top 16, we've got only 4 1-drops, just the 4 Olaf. We are running 4 of the Kuzco, so that balances it out a little bit more, just in your desire to get a character down before turn 3 Fox. But yeah, not many 1-drops at all. 4 Snake, 4 Fox, 2 Maleficent, 3 Crab. We are seeing 4 copies of Rafiki in here. Throwback. 3 cost, uninkable, 3/3 quest for 1, and Rush. I mean, Rush good. Rush really good. It's 4 of your uninkables though. You're running 20 uninkables. John T would be proud. John T would be proud if you're watching this, John T. Let me know if you're proud. 20 uninkables. Maybe I'm just a coward. Maybe I'm just a coward. And this is the bravest of them all. But even if I was running 20 uninkables, I don't know if I would. Like 4 just seems a lot. I like Rafiki. And yeah, it definitely helps you with early to mid. And to be fair with Merlin Crab, and it's good. It's more location response. Yeah, I think I've just talked myself back into like really liking this because it's more location response, really quick. Yeah, I mean 4 still maybe seems high. 3, I don't know. I mean led them to top 16, so. Listen to the data baker, but yeah, lots of mysterious sage. 4 goat, 4 rabbit, 4 Maui. We're on the 2/2 line of Tremaine and Medusa, which is fair enough. 3 teeth and ambitions, no Pinocchio, no Prince Eric. 4 friends, 4 be prepared. 4 sorcerer's spellbook. It was a spellbook extravaganza. 2 Maui's Fishhook, and once again only 2 Queen's Castle. The French know what's up. Only 2 castles are needed. But yeah, congratulations to them. Next up in top 16, nothing too fancy here. We've got 7 1-drops, 2 Kuzcos, all the way in on the Maleficents. Only 3 goats, 3 rabbit, 3 crab, 4 rabbit, 4 Maui. We're on 3 Tremaine and 2 Medusa. That's a bit more novel. I think I would definitely have the higher count. I'd either go 2/2 or 3 Medusa, 2 Tremaine. But respect it. All the way in on the Monstrous Dragons. 4 Teeth and Ambitions. Once again, no Pinocchio, no Eric. 4 friends, 4 be prepared. All the way in on the Queen's Castle this time. No Jim Hawkins. But yeah, looks good. I'm not a fan of this split of Tremaine and Medusa. But yeah, the rest of it looks really good. So congrats. And our final Ruby Amethyst list. We've got 8 1-drops, 4 Rafiki, 4 Mini. We've got 2 Kuzco, 4 Snake, 4 Fox. We are seeing the 2 Pinocchio here, 2 Crab. 2 Maleficent and 3 Crab. This is all identical to my top line of my version of this. But I'm not running the 3 Stylish Surfer Mini that we're seeing here. 4 Goat, 4 Rabbit, 4 Maui, 2 Medusa. We're once again seeing the big bad Maui Whale. 2 Monstrous Dragon, 4 Friends, 4 Be Prepared, 1 Spellbook. Spellbook very popular at this event. 2 Fishhook and 4 Queen's Castle. So Jim's not in the majority of these lists. Eric's definitely not in the majorities. But to be fair, the first place list not running either of them, but running Pinocchios and Whales, and the top 4 list running both Jim's and Prince Eric. So about a mix of data. But yeah, that's all our Ruby Amethyst control list. So let's move on and go to second place, where we have some Amber Ruby Mufasa, which I think is so well situated for this format. It was the first thing I tried, and the first thing I said is like, it's feeling really good. But then I've just moved away and like been doing other things, so I haven't come back to it for a while. But I think it's really strong. It's a really fun deck. If you're new to the game, we are taking advantage of Mufasa, who's a 5-cost inkable, 3/3 quest for 2, and the sun will set when this character is banished. You may reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a character card, you may play that character for free. They enter play exerted. Otherwise, put it on the top of your deck. So our only non-character card is Teeth and Ambitions, which does combo with the 3 Prince Eric that we're running, and gives us a better time against early aggro. I think 4 is probably still a lot, but I understand its purpose here. But by and large, we should be hitting a character far more often than not, and they quest for 2, and the idea is you'll constantly retain it. Like, he replaces himself, so you're keeping board presence, keep questing. We're essentially a mid-range aggro deck. And he allows us to cheat out bigger characters, which we have in abundance. We are running 3 copies of 1-cost Stitch, who's a 2/2, but can shift into our Rockstar Stitch, who shift for 4, 3/5, quest for 3, and whenever you play a character with cost 2 or less, you can exert them to draw a card. So we've got the 3 Stitch. We're running 4 Mini in here, which is rarer for Mufasa decks, but 4 Teeth and Ambitions, synergy there, 4 Simba and 4 Mother Gothel. So all of those can be targets to be an adoring fan to let us draw more cards with Rockstar Stitch. And again, he just quests really aggressively, and we don't need to shift. We can just cheat him out with Mufasa if we get a hit off of him. But yeah, 4 Mini, rarer, but works with Teeth and Ambitions. 4 copies of Bodyguard Simba, who's a 2-cost inkable, 2/3, and Bodyguard. So if he's in play and exerted, your opponent has to target him. So hopefully he's keeping our more important characters safe. We've got 4 copies of Mother Gothel, who's a 2-cost inkable, 3/4 quest for 1. And what have you done? This character enters play with 3 damage. So sometimes we don't care about that. She's just a nice beat stick, and just hitting for 3 on a cheap character is good. But her main use here is to work with Rapunzel, who is a 4-cost inkable, 1/5 quest for 2 with Gleam and Glow. When you play her, remove up to 3 damage from a chosen character, from one of your chosen characters, and draw a card for each damage removed. So So it's a perfect synergy. We put Mother Gothel down, and then hopefully we play Rapunzel to remove that 3 damage and draw 3 cards. This deck is lacking in draw. I said we got the Rockstar Stitch with Adoring Fans, but that's not really a reliable refreshing of our resources. But Rapunzel can give us a nice big refresh, and so can our Surfer Stitch, who we'll look at right away. 7 cost inkable, 4/8, so bulky, quest for 2, and when you play this character, if you have 2 or other characters in play, you can draw 2 cards. So the idea of this deck, we want to play a lot of characters, Mufasa replaces, and we want to like flood the board as much as we can, and preferably if we fulfill that, then Surfer Stitch will be able to draw us more cards. But that's pretty much it for our card draw, so really important. So we really want Mother Gothel to get full value off of a Rapunzel. We've got 4 copies of Doc, who's the 3 cost inkable, 2/3 quest for 2, and whenever this character quests, you may pay 1 less ink for the next character you play this turn. So a really common play is you'll want to get this down turn 3, so that turn 4 you can start playing your Mufasas and start generating advantage really quickly, and even if they are able to remove it soon, then it's just a turn sooner that you're able to hopefully cheat out something bigger, like a Hydra or a Lady Tremaine or a Maleficent, or a Prince Eric, or whatever it might be. So Doc really strong. Stylish Surfer Mini, again, we're an aggro deck, so she makes a lot of sense here. 3 copies of Prince Eric I really like in this particular deck. Really strong. If we can get hits off of Mufasa, we can hopefully play him a little bit cheaper with Doc, and yeah, I think he's a great addition to this. 4 Maui, because we still need response cards and board control and location control. 3 copies of the new Hydra, 6 cost uninkable, 6/5, quest for 2, and watch the teeth. Whenever this character is dealt damage, deal that much damage to chosen opposing character. Really strong against steal. All their ping damage, if they target us, then we're just pinging it back. Plus we can challenge into 1 character, and any damage that we take in return, we can then put that on something else on their board. So I'm a big fan of Hydra in this deck. For Tremaine in here, I think makes a lot of sense, potentially more over the Medusa, because we're hoping to hit Maleficence off of Mufasa's anyway. Yeah, I think there's still reason to play Medusa in this, but I think Tremaine is well situated in this particular deck. We talked about the Stitch, the Monstrous Dragon, obviously, and yeah, the Teeth and Ambitions. So you notice no Perdita here, who I was testing in my early builds of Mufasa, and she was okay, but I don't know, just not doing enough. She can create really nice plays, getting back the Simba or get back the Stitch that you can shift, or the Gothel for another Rapunzel proc. But she's not very offensive. Yeah, she's fairly bulky, but so many decks are equipped to hit big numbers at the moment because of like locations anyway. So she's not really a good like response to like having a big board. You'd rather hit something like Tremaine or Hydra or something, yeah, so, or even a Prince Eric. So I do like Perdita, but I can understand the reason for the absence here. No Plutos in this deck, who I am a fan of in Mufasa, but this person didn't need them and took them all the way to 2nd place. So congratulations to them. Next up in top 4, we've got some Ruby Sapphire Pawp Control. So this deck looks really fun. Sapphire Ruby definitely getting more people's radars, and I think one of the big reasons for that is Mukduk Mana, 4 cost inkable, 1/9 stat line, and 2 passive lore gain. Just demands so much from the opponent. Like, I played a location control deck a couple of weeks back with a far lighter character count and just more locations, and that was doing well, but it is seeming like this is the better way to do it. Take advantage of the big bodies, and like just Mukduk Mana puts in a lot of the work. Yeah, and it's the reason so many decks are running higher counts of things like Crab and Maui's Fishhook, and just ways of hitting like bigger numbers, because Mukduk Mana is really strong. This deck also taking advantage of Montanui, 2 cost inkable, 1/5, and if you have a character there that's banished, you add them to your Inkwell, so more ramp, and just another location to be visited by Hey Accidental Explorer, who I love so much, considering the coconut. 2 cost inkable, 3/2 quest for 1, and once per turn when this character moves to a location, each opponent loses 1 lore. I love it so much, just bouncing between these locations, just chipping away at that lore your opponent's gained. So annoying. Yeah, I'm a big fan. Kind of makes more sense to look at the ramp and item stuff first here. 4 copies of Fishbone Quill, 3 cost Inkable. Exert, put any put any card from your hand into your Inkwell face down. So let's us get those pesky uninkables out of our hand if they're not relevant for the moment in hand. Just help us ink nice and high. We've got 2 copies of Sumerian Talisman, which is a 3 cost Inkable item. During your turn, whenever one of your characters is banished in a challenge, you may draw a card, and we have a couple of characters that we'll get to that synergize really well with this. We're seeing the 2 copies of Maui's Fishhook, also running 4 Maui as a nice body response card to control the board anyway. So yeah, taking advantage of this in all the same ways that the Ruby Amethyst control decks are. Hitting bigger numbers, being evasive, being annoying. And 4 copies of Pawp Control, which is a 1 cost Inkable and lets you draw a card. And the secondary ability, you can banish it to remove up to 2 damage from a chosen character, which can come in niche uses, but mostly it's just about drawing cards, thinning your deck, and arming our Flavisham, who is one of our main draw components here. He's our only draw component here. Oh no, the Sumerian Talisman, but he's our main one. 4 cost Inkable, 1/6, quest for 1. An Artificer, when you play this character and whenever he quests, you may banish one of your items to draw 2 cards. So lots of items that we can use here. And yeah, if Flavisham sticks around for even 1 full turn and gets his just come into play, remove an item, draw 2. I survived, great. Now I'm going to quest, remove another item, draw another 2. Sometimes that can just be enough to keep you in the game, because by that point you've hopefully ramped to 5, 6, maybe even 7 ink by that point, courtesy of Montanui, and then just a nice 4 card bump. Get yourself the Be Prepared or the Maui, whatever it is you need to level the board state, and then you're cooking.
Standards and practices, get ready.
But yeah, let's go back to the beginning. We've got 2 copies of the Queen of Hearts, 2 cost Inkable, 2/2, and Rush. So just a nice early response for like aggro decks and just cheap characters, and synergizes really well with the Sumerian Talisman. So we're hopefully trading with the Queen, but then we're drawing a card off of Sumerian Talisman. In that vein, we've got 2 copies of the Uninkable Stitch, 2 cost, 3/1, and Rush. So same as Queen of Hearts, but we're hitting that a little bit harder, and we don't care that we're probably being taken out in return, because hopefully we're drawing a card off of Sumerian Talisman. But also just really good for locations, like this 3 rocket like into a location is like can be very good for map fixing. We've got 1 copy of Grand Martala, 4 cost Inkable, 3/3, quest for 1. When you play this character, look at the top 2 cards of your deck, put 1 in your hand, the other to the bottom of your deck. It's just card draw at the end of the day, and you get a choice between what you're drawing. No shifted Grand Martala here. Another Inkable, it seems fine. We talked about Flavisham. We're seeing 2 copies of Jim Hawkins here which can help rush in our locations that we've looked at. The 4 Maui, 3 Madame Medusa, no Tremaine in here. We're running 4 copies of Gaston, Intellectual Powerhouse, 6 cost Uninkable, 4/4, quest for 3. The shift is irrelevant, but Developed Brain. When you play this character, look at the top 3 cards of your deck, 1 into your hand, and the others onto the bottom of your deck in any order. So hopefully we're playing this earlier than turn 6 anyway, due to a little bit of ramp. But either way, he's a big bulky body, 4/4 is a great stat line. Questing for 3 means he demands attention, and so decks like this that are like with so many moving pieces sometimes really just need to find the right piece at the right time when it hasn't got like consistent draw. So yeah, just this 3 dig to find whatever you need, really strong. 1 copy of Hades is a 7 cost Uninkable, 3/6, quest for 2, and when you play him you can put chosen opposing character into their player's inkwell face down. We're funneling their ink, which just doesn't feel great, but if something's got to go, it's got to go, and it's just another sort of like instant removal card along with our 4 Maleficent. We're running 2 copies of Tamatoa, 8 cost Inkable, 5/8, quest for 1. What have we here? When you play this character and when he quests, you may return an item card from your discard to your hand. So lots of items as we've established, and hopefully we've been knocking them off with Flavisham, and then we can recycle them with Tamatoa. And this character gets +1 lore for each item you have in play. And with an item count this big, pretty reasonable to have 2-3 items on board, and then this becomes a questing menace. 4 copies of Developed Your Brain, which are 1 cost Inkable. Look at the top 2 cards of your deck, 1 into your hand, 1 to the bottom of your deck. Same as what I said to Gaston, but not as deep of a dig, but just helping you find the key piece you need when you need it. 4 Be Prepared, our big red button, and yeah, this deck's looking more and more well situated. So yeah, I'm a big fan of Ruby Sapphire. Anyway, I need to try this more character heavy build as opposed to mine, which was just like, yeah, different. More locations, less bodies. I really just want to play the Hey Hey though. But yeah, looks good. Congratulations to them. Hey, we're at the halfway point of the video, so I just want to take a moment to talk about my new relationship with Whatnot. Whatnot is essentially a crossover between eBay and Twitch, where you bid for items, but in a live stream with the seller. They do have a specialty in trading card games, including Lorcana, so they've entered into a partnership with me. They've given me my own sign-up code so that if you're not a pre-existing customer of Whatnot, if you want to sign up using my code, you immediately get £10 credit onto your account, which will be taken off of your first purchase. Anyone that does use my link to sign up and make a purchase does support me directly, so anyone that can do so, it would be greatly appreciated. And I'm actually running a giveaway for people to win a Lorcana Trove if they sign up with my link and buy something. If you'd like to hear more information about that, check out this video, which will be linked in the description. But yeah, I just want to give a huge thank you to Whatnot for being new sponsors on the channel. Let's get on with the lists. Next up in top 8, we've got our lone Sapphire Steel Wheel. Looks pretty standardized for the format based on our data so far. This deck doing really well at the 181 online tournament. Also taking advantage of the McDuck mana, as we said, just really strong. Demands a lot from the opponent to be able to remove it. It just generates you so much lore. We've got 4 copies of Captain Hook to be our 1-drop inkable 1/2 with Challenger 2. So again, hitting for 3 is really good. 4 copies of Mr. Smee, 2-cost inkable, 3 quests for 2. And his ability is at the end of your turn, if he is exerted and you don't have a captain, he takes 1 damage. We are running the Captain Hook, who is our only captain, so that we can subvert this, but even if we don't, doesn't matter. Smee is so good, 2 is so cheap, 3/3 is a great stat line, questing for 2, he's so aggro, so yeah, really nice curve we get here. 3 copies of the uninkable 3-cost Mickey Mouse Detective, 1/3 quest for 1. When you play him, the top card of your deck goes straight into your inkwell, so ramp. Flavisham for the card draw, working off of our Fishbone Quill and our Pawp Control, which are our only items. I hope you're glad I keep stuff like that in for your entertainment, because I could just cut it. But yo, why not? Yeah, those are our only items. But previous formats showed that like this setup with Flavisham is more than enough to be able to get this drawing machine going. 4 copies of Cogsworth, 5-cost inkable, 2 5 quests for 2. Ward, so really annoying to get round, bar things like Be Prepared or Tremaine, but again, you can play around Tremaine just by playing another character. And Unwind, giving resist 1 to all of our other characters. Also, one of our 5-cost characters that can sing our 5-cost songs that are really powerful. 4 copies of Tragic Hero Beast. Obviously, Madame Medusa is everywhere, and Beast players hate that card, but he's still too strong not to play. If they don't have the Medusa, or if you're not playing against Ruby, then yeah, just going to put in so much work. 5-cost inkable, 3 5 quests for 2, and at the start of your turn, if you have no damage, you draw an extra card. If he does have damage, then he gains 4 strength, becoming a 7/5 beat stick. So the 7/5 beat stick can be useful. Big numbers is good, especially in a location meta, but really we want him to be nice and healthy, just drawing us an extra card at the beginning of our turn. Generating advantage, drawing cards is queen. I used to say drawing cards is king, but Queen's Castle has shown me the error of my ways. 3 copies of Gaston, again, another powerhouse, puts in a lot of work with a 4/4 stat line questing for 3, and someone else that can sing our 5-cost songs, and we can likely get him down turn 5 if we played Mickey, or Fishbone Quill. 4 copies of Tinkerbell, 6-cost inkable, 4 5 quest for 2, Rock the Boat. When you play this character, deal 1 damage to each opposing character, and Puny Pirate. During your turn, whenever this character banishes another character in a challenge, you may deal 2 damage to chosen opposing character. Tinkerbell, one of the strongest cards in the game, really controls the board, makes our opponent question whether they should be questing or not, because we can just get so much advantage from these little pings here and there, so love it. 4, develop your brain to find the pieces we need. 3 copies of Rise of the Titans, banish chosen location or item. Mostly came here to answer things like Queen's Castle, McDuck Manor, RLS Legacy, but again, Fishbone Quill is great to remove. The Rise in Maui's Fish Hook, that's going to be good to get rid of. So yeah, Rise of the Titans putting in a lot of work for Steel players. Next up, our songs. We've got 3 copies of And Then Along Came Zeus, He Hurled His Thunderbolt, and it did 5 damage to a chosen opposing character or location. 5 damage is going to take out so much of the common meta threats that you would want to remove. Being able to do this on locations as well, like Steel having all the location removal. More colours, need to see a bit more of that, man. But yeah, really diverse. Again, we can sing it, even with Flavisham. You do it, Flavisham. Flavisham hurled his Thunderbolt. But yeah, powerful card, really strong. Love to see it. 4 copies, A Whole New World. Each player discards their hand, draw 7 cards. The wheel that we are turning. Throw away those cards and let's cycle back a fresh 7 for both of us. If you're new, that's generally why we call it the wheel. 4 copies of Grab Your Swords, 5 cost inkable. Deal 2 damage to each opposing character. So just 2 on everything. We can sing this. This plus a Tinkerbell sprint damage. It becomes like you've done 3 damage to everything, which can just wipe boards. So really, really strong. So yeah, Sapphire Steel Wheel, still a really strong deck. A really hard deck to pilot well. So huge congratulations to Richard for leading it to top 8. Next up in top 8, we've got some EA Tempo. Just win the game. We've got 2 copies of 1 cost Chernobog's Followers. 2/1, quest for 1. Whenever this character quests, you may banish them to draw a card. I'm a big fan of this. Really diverse. Hitting for 2 checks a lot of things. If they don't play anything, you can just keep questing. You're setting up your bounce cards. And if you need to dig for a certain card and just thin out your deck, then you may do so. We're very aggro. We're not all in on the aggro. Not seeing any of the Maleficent Biding of Time. But we are seeing 4 copies of the Cursed Merfolk. 1 cost uninkable. 0/1, quest for 2, and when this character is challenged, each opponent chooses and discards a card. So, like, again, just nice early questing character to build lore nice and early, and again, if they do challenge it, then they're discarding cards, and we love to see that. Or also running 4 copies of Flynn Rider, who's a 2-cost inkable 1/2, quest for 2, and the exact same ability. So these guys hopefully going to get us some nice hand disruption. We've got 4 copies of the Fox, 4 copies of the Snake, 3 Merlin Crab. We're seeing 4 copies of the first Ursula, the 2-drop inkable 1/3, quest for 1, and when you play this character, your opponent reveals their hand, discard a song of your choice, getting rid of those Be Prepareds, those Grab Your Swords, or even just in the mirror, things like Friends on the Other Side, Mother Knows Best. Really, really strong, fantastic addition to Emerald. We're once again seeing 3 copies of Rafiki. Location response, more rush characters, you can boost him up with Merlin Crab. Is this the time for Rafiki? My man's name is John Cena. His time is now. We've got 4 copies of Kit Cloud Kicker. 3 cost inkable 2/2, quest for 1. And when you play him, you can return an opposing character with 2 strength or less to the opponent's hand. If you just look at this deck as it is, like the amount of characters that this can bounce back, to just help you keep tempo. And one of the great targets for this is the MVP of this deck, Ursula, Deceiver of All. 3 cost inkable, 2/3, quest for 1, and what a deal. Whenever this character sings a song, you may play that song again from your discard for free, then put it on the bottom of your deck. So our songs here that we've got to take advantage of this are Friends on the Other Side, which becomes Draw 4, or Mother Knows Best, which becomes Return 2 chosen characters to their player's hand, which can just completely tilt the scale of the game in your favour. So Ursa's so strong. 4 Goat for the lore, 4 Rabbit for the draw, 2 Inkabel to be an annoying, evasive quester with a 2/3 stat line, also 2 Genie, another evasive, annoying quester with a 3/4 stat line, but also the Disappear ability. When you play this character, you may return chosen character to their player's hand. We're keeping tempo, we playing characters, we bouncing theirs back, we questing, we being evasive to be annoying, we bouncing the Genie back to our hand so we can play it again. We love this deck. It's just so strong. 1 copy of the Sorcerer's Spellbook and 3 copies of the Queen's Castle. So yeah, EA Tempo still putting in a strong showing, so congratulations to them. There are 3 EA Tempo decks to look at, so the second of which in the top 8, looking very similar, only 3 of the Deceiver of All. I mean, I get it, sometimes you do ink her and you don't always need her, because you're only, like, these are your only 2 songs, but that play is so important, right? But fair enough, only 3. We're seeing 2 Chernobog. We're seeing 2 Rafiki in this list for another early character we can put down to check boards. Really good in the mirror. 2 copies of Rapunzel, who becomes an evasive character if you have another character on board, which this sort of deck we should. We're seeing 1 copy of Pinocchio for the mirror. I dare say more than anything, another reason to run the Rafiki. But again, Pinocchio just good, as we've established. 4 Flynn, 4 Ursula, 4 Fox, 3 Crab, 4 Kit, only 3 Ursula, 4 Rabbit, 4 Goat, 3 Tinkerbell, 1 Yzma in this list, 6 cost inkable, 4/4, quest for 2, and Cruel Irony. When you play this character, shuffle another chosen character card into their player's deck. That player draws 2 cards. Good for cards like Mufasa, who you don't want to proc. Returning them to the deck means he won't get his ability off. Good for just saying goodbye to targets if we really need to. We've got Mother Knows Best, which can do that, but this is another way to do it, and it puts it to the deck, like, so they can't just immediately play it again, hopefully. But also diverse, because we can send our own characters back to our deck just to draw 2 cards. So yeah, big fan of Yzma, the 2 Genie, the standard songs, and the 3 Castle. So another great showing. So congratulations to them. And our last EA tempo, we've got 4 Rafiki, 4 Cursed Merfolk, the standard Amethyst stuff, 3 copies of Maleficent here for some additional card draw, 4 Ursula, 4 Kit, 3 Goat, 3 Rabbit, 2 Genie, no Tinkerbell here. We're seeing an additional song, the Strike a Good Match, 2 cost Inkable, draw 2 cards, then choose and discard a card. This was raved about when it was first seen, and it's not making its way into many of these EA tempo decks. I think just because Ursula, like, just friends is enough. You're drawing 4, but some decks still deciding to play the Strike a Good Match, so nice. But we're also seeing 2 copies of Pua, Pot-Bellied Buddy, 2 cost Inkable, 2/2, quest for 2, and always there. When this character is banished, you may shuffle this card into your deck. So good for a couple of reasons. One, we're just an aggro deck, and we want to constantly have aggro characters that we can play to the board. But also, it shuffles our deck so that the song that we put on the bottom of our deck after we sang it with Ursula is no longer at the bottom of our deck. And it's always good to draw into more card draw, and Mother Knows Best is going to be useful a lot. So yeah, I'm a big fan of the Pua. So slightly different way of playing it, but another strong showing. So congratulations to them. Next up, we move on to our Emerald Steel, Bucky Tempo. So this time, the Ursula Deceiver of All is taking advantage of the Steel songs. Well, we have Strike a Good Match here at a 3 count, so that's the same. But we also have Let the Storm Rage On, 3 cost uninkable, deal 2 damage to chosen character, draw a card. So that becomes deal 4 and draw a card, or deal 2, draw a card, because you can split them. Just the draw 2 from playing this on its own is nuts. But yeah, the ping, so strong. Strength for a Raging Fire, which is a 3 cost inkable song, deal damage to chosen character equal to the number of characters you have in play. So this was great last format, just because, like, even going to a 3 or 4 character board, this can hit significant numbers. But being able to do it twice with Ursula, crazy. So yeah, Ursula, a slightly different package. But yeah, back to the beginning, we've got 4 line of the new Robin Hood, Champion of Sherwood, 5 cost inkable, 3/6, quest for 2, shift for 3, and then 2 abilities. During your turn, whenever this character banishes another character in a challenge, gain 2 lore, which is nice. And when he is banished in a challenge, you can draw a card. So the fact he replaces himself is good. The 2 lore bump is nice, but one of his best uses here is just another quick way that we can sing A Whole New World, Along Came Zeus, all these songs. So Robin Hood really strong. And he also aids the 4 copies of Bucky that we're playing. You don't need to run any of the other hand discard. This deck wants to run a lot of Floodborns as it is. So Bucky's just a good add. 2 cost inkable, 1/1 ward, so hard to remove. And Squeak, when you play a Floodborn, each opponent chooses and discards a card. So Robin Hood, we've got 4 Tinkerbell here. We've got 4 Beast. We've got 4 of the Dreadnought Jafar, who's a 4 cost inkable, 3/4, which is a really nice stat line. Takes out a lot and normally survives the hit. Quest for 1 and... Now where were we? During your turn, when this character banishes another character in a challenge, draw a card. Drawing cards is king. Another Floodborn that can make our opponent discard. So yeah, really annoying deck. 4 copies of Morph, 2 cost inkable, 2/1. He's Ditto. You can play any character on him as if he had any name. So yeah, Robin Hood, Tinkerbell, turn 3 Tragic Hero Beast, turn 3 Jafar, all of these things. 4 Ursula for the hand disruption. We're running 2 Kit Cloud Kicker, just to require even the 2 strength or less. Really important and really disruptive and strong. And yeah, we've basically looked at everything else. So yeah, a different way of taking advantage of the Deceiver of All. Deck looks really good. And yeah, I think just the 4 counter Bucky is the way to go with this build. Definitely check out friend of the channel, Zach Bivens, or Lorcana Castle, who I plugged not too long ago. They recently released their 2nd video, which is looking at Emerald Steel. And in the video, they show live footage that was taken of them winning another 1K event with Emerald Steel. I'll link that video below, so you should absolutely go check that out. But yeah, it looks quite similar to this, so congratulations to them. And our 2nd Emerald Steel, similar. We've got the 4/4 Robin Hood. We're running the 4 Bucky, 4 more, 4 Ursula, 3 Kit. Only 2 Deceiver of All. That seems low to me. But we do have a lot of other tools in our toolbox. The 4 Dreadnought, the 4 Jafar. We're running 1 copy of the Relentless Beast, 6 cost inkable, 4/5 quest for 2. Whenever an opposing character is damaged, you may ready this character. So you don't need to lean into like the OTK with Beast Relentless. He's just quite strong in himself, especially especially because we have so much ping. He can get a nice jump in lore or just challenge multiple things, so nice. Also seeing 1 copy of Cinderella Stout-Hearted, 7-cost inkable, 5/5, quest for 3, shift 5, which we're not playing any baby Cinderellas, but we are running Morph, so we can still shift. Resist 2, and Singing Sword. When you play a song, this character can challenge ready characters. So we got a lot of songs. So this out of nowhere, I imagine, put in some work, and then a similar song lineup to what we saw before, but 3 grab your swords in this list. So yeah, looks good. I still think Deceiver of All, I think 2 count is low, but did very well for them, so congratulations. Okay, our last colour combination to look at. This is going to be a long video. We've got some Amethyst Steel Jafar Control, top 16. So we look right at our Striking Illusionist, who is a big part of the deck, but it doesn't have to be all about him. But definitely a bonus. 7-cost inkable, 4/5, shift 5, quest for 1, evasive, and power beyond measure. During your turn, while this character is exerted, whenever you draw a card, gain 1 lore. So as long as he's exerted, we draw, if we draw off of Blue Fairy, Yzma, friends on the other side, Rabbit, the Dreadnought Jafar, these things all let us draw more cards, but the big way to do it is to have Jafar sing Whole New World and immediately draw gain 7 lore. And you could potentially get a board state where you're able to do that, and perhaps you already have another character on board who can sing 5-cost songs like the Robin Hood. And if you draw into another Whole New World off of that first one, you can play it again, and then that's potentially a 14 lore bump. Or hey, how about just having 2 Jafars down and then playing 1 or 2 Whole New Worlds? So yeah, could just end games on his own. But the best way to run Jafar is not to be all in on him. Just treat this as Amethyst Steel Control mid-range, which has been a strong deck for a long while anyway. We have 3 copies of Captain Hook, just to be another just another check in the early game, another 1-drop we can put down. We've got the 4/4 Robin Hood line. We are running 4 copies of the Blue Fairy, 2-cost inkable, 1/1, evasive, quest for 1, and ethereal glow. Whenever you play a Floodborn character, you may draw a card. So different to Bucky, he'd be discarding cards, Blue Fairy be drawing us cards. So the Dreadnought, the Beast, the Robin Hood, the Yzma, the Tink, Jafar, all netting us more cards. One of the most powerful cards in the deck. We are running 2 copies of the Jafar Royal Vizier, 2-cost inkable, 3/2, and gains evasive during your turn. So another target to shift our Jafar onto, along with the Dreadnoughts. And again, just having evasive is good to take out evasive foes in format. So I like this, the same line to as what Zephyr ran to a top 8 finish in the latest online tournament. We've got 2 copies of Mr. Smee to be another 2-drop, and we've established you don't even need the captain. He's just really strong, quests high, and like again, if you can just quest to like 5 or 6 in your first few turns, and then let a double wheel off Jafar finish the game, then that could be enough. 3 copies of the Tiny Tactician to be another shift target for the big Tink that we're running, so we can play Hasuna really strong against Bucky decks, because you want to get them offline, and obviously with Wards you can't target them, but the Rock the Boat ability will take out Bucky's. 3 Merlin for the draw, 4 Dreadnoughts, 2 Yzma. Yeah, we've looked at most of the rest of this. Pretty traditional Jafar mid-range control. So deck still doing well. I'm glad to see it, but not dominating. But yeah, I'm a big fan of Jafar. So congratulations to Greg. And our final list. Another Amethyst Steel Jafar Control. Very, very similar to what we just looked at. But this person opting to be one of the first that I've seen to run some extra item removal. 2 copies of Benja, 3-cost inkable, 2/3, quest for 2. When you play this character, you may banish chosen item. We're still running 3 copies of Rise of the Titans, so we can do it that way. But really, we want to use these for the locations, and it's just nice to have the extra option. One other big difference, though, is we're running 2 copies of the 5-cost inkable Thinking a Happy Thought Captain Hook. 2/5, Challenger 3, and Stolen Dust. Characters with cost 3 or less can't challenge this character. So just another character that can sing Whole New World early or on top of Jafar. This feels a lot more all in on Jafar by running the Happy Thought Captain Hook. You really want to do like turn 1 Captain Hook, turn 2 Blue Fairy, turn 3 Thinking a Happy Thought Captain Hook, turn 4 Royal Vizier Jafar, turn 5 Striking Illusionist Jafar, so you're drawing all these cards all the while, and then just like double wheel. That's not always going to be the preferred line, but again, just more options to have that really aggressive play open to you from turn 5, if you manage to find the wheel and like keep your cards without them being removed. But yeah, another really good looking Jafar deck, so congratulations to them. And that's it for the top 16 deck lists for the biggest event that we've had so far post Into The Inklands. This will have been a really long video, so I don't want to go on too much longer. But yeah, it's still looking really healthy. It's a 6 Ruby Amethyst list in the top 16, I think, is still reasonable. It's still a really strong deck, guys. It's not going anywhere. And yes, it won again, but that could quite easily have gone a different way. And there was a good amount of EA Tempo, a good amount of Emerald Steel, a couple of Jafar decks, a Mufasa making it to second place, 1 Sapphire Steel. So this to me looks pretty healthy, but what are your thoughts on the meta so far? If you've got any thoughts for discussion, leave them down below. But that's it from me for now. Thank you so much for watching. If you're brand new to the channel, please subscribe for all things Lorcana. Hit the like button to show your support, and we'll see you soon.